When you think about the world of K-pop, you probably picture these massive stages, perfect choreography, and chart-topping hits. Everything seems so polished, so flawless. But every once in a while, the curtain gets pulled back, and you see these incredibly real, raw moments of emotion. And those moments, well, they show you the true connection between an artist and their fans. Today, we're diving into one of those moments.
So let's just start right here with a question. Picture this. You are on top of the world. You're a member of one of the biggest girl groups on the planet. You've performed for millions. You've got awards lining your shelves. You've basically built a global empire. In that kind of world, what could possibly move you to tears? A bad review? Some kind of personal struggle? The answer, it turns out, is a lot simpler and way more profound.
That's it, a YouTube comment section. Not a roaring stadium, not a heartbreaking ballad, just a list of comments on a screen. I know, it sounds almost unbelievable, right? But that is exactly what happened. So let's get into it and unpack how a few lines of text from strangers managed to unlock a whole decade's worth of emotion from one of the industry's biggest stars.
Okay, so the star of our story is Nayeon, the incredible lead vocalist and, let's be real, the vibrant, energetic center of the superstar group Twice. And in a recent interview she did with Cosmopolitan Korea, she let slip something that kind of caught everyone off guard. A moment where she decided to break a really important rule she had set for herself.
And you can totally get why, right? For anyone famous, but especially for K-pop idols who are living under this immense microscope, comment sections can be a total minefield. Just a wall of negativity and harsh criticism. The pressure to be perfect is just relentless. So, as a way to protect their own mental health, a lot of artists, Nayeon included, just make it a rule. Stay away. So for her to decide to jump in on purpose, that was a big deal.
And boom, this is what happened when she broke that rule. She didn't just skim a few comments. She was deeply affected. And the part that really stands out to me here is when she says, I could really feel their hearts. This wasn't just about reading nice things. This was about feeling a real, genuine connection coming right through the screen from people she has never even met.
So what was this Killing Voice performance? Why this one? What made it so special that she just had to look at the comments? To really get her reaction, we've got to understand the show itself, because the whole format is basically designed to set the stage for exactly this kind of emotional moment. Okay, so Killing Voice isn't your average performance. Think of it more like a musical time machine. The artists sit down and perform this one long, continuous medley of their biggest hits. They go from their debut songs all the way to their latest single, all in one go. It's literally a highlight reel of their entire career, sung live right in front of you.
And when I say their whole career, I mean it. The list of songs they performed was just massive. We're talking about their iconic early stuff like Cheer Up, a song that pretty much defined an era of K-pop, all the way up to their newest tracks like One Spark. For the fans watching, it was like this incredible trip down memory lane. But for Nayeon, singing those songs, that was her recounting her entire adult life's work out loud.
All right, so the stage is set. We've got Nayeon, who never reads comments, deciding to break her rule after a performance that was literally a summary of her whole career. So, what did she find? What were these inspiring words that hit her so hard?
Wow. Just let that one sink in for a second. This is so much more than, I love this song. This is a fan basically saying, your music was the soundtrack to me growing up. Your joy was a part of my joy. It completely reframes Twice from just being entertainers to being a fundamental part of their fans' life stories. That's heavy.
And then there's this comment. This one speaks to something totally different, but just as powerful. It's about respect. Respect for their artistry, for their consistency. In an industry that moves a million miles an hour, to have an insane discography is proof of almost a decade of hard work, quality, and growth. It's the ultimate nod to their legacy.
And finally, you have this. It's so simple, so direct, and so powerful. It's the ultimate statement. After watching the group just effortlessly perform hit after hit after hit, fans weren't just saying they liked the song, they were confirming it. They were cementing the group's status in the history books of K-pop. They were calling them what they are, legends.
So imagine seeing all of these comments one after another. It wasn't just flattering. For Nayeon, it was like a perfect storm. It was this flood of validation and shared nostalgia that basically forced her to stop and have this deeply personal moment of reflection, to finally see the true scale of her own journey.
I mean, just look at it laid out like this. It's kind of overwhelming, right?
From their debut back in 2015 to becoming the nation's girl group to now being these global icons, that's nearly 10 years of nonstop work, of pressure, of growing up in the public eye. I think sometimes when you're so busy just living it, you never get a chance to step back and see the whole picture at once.
And this, right here, this is the heart of it. When Nayeon was reading the fans' stories about growing up with their music, she realized she was also reading her own story. The fans' nostalgia was like a mirror, reflecting her own decade-long journey right back at her. And in that moment, the full weight of those 10 years, it suddenly felt real. And that's what brought on the tears.
So why are we talking about this? Why does this one small story resonate so much? Because it pulls back the curtain on that really unique, really intense bond between idols and their fans. And it shows us something incredibly profound about what legacy actually means in a world that's always chasing the next new thing. This goes so much deeper than just fan appreciation. It's about that special bond where fans don't just listen to the music. They feel like they're on the journey with the group. They're celebrating the wins, feeling the losses. So when a fan says something like, "We grew up together," they're giving that artist an absolutely priceless gift. They're saying all those years of insane pressure, of sacrifice, it all meant something. It became a permanent, happy part of someone else's life. For an artist like Nayeon, that has to be the ultimate validation.
And that really just leaves us with one last thing to think about. Nayeon's entire perspective on our own incredible 10-year career was completely shifted by a handful of comments on YouTube. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? When is a simple message, a text, an email, maybe a comment you almost didn't leave, ever just stopped you in your tracks and totally changed how you see your own life or your own work?